Greetings everyone, this is Rob Sanders, and today we're going to talk about how to set up goals in Google Analytics. So for this particular webinar, we're going to jump into Google Analytics directly and spend all of our time there because it's about learning practical application. So goals are important. Goals, let me just say this, goals are in analytics something that should be aligned with your business. And we call goals that are aligned with your business KPIs, or key performance indicators. So it's very important as a precursor that you know how to set up goals in Google Analytics, because if you're using Google Analytics, you want to measure everything against a goal. So without further ado, let's jump right into Google Analytics. So if I go to Google Analytics and I log in, okay, what I want to do is go down to admin, click on admin here, and admin will take you to basically a screen that looks like this, where you have an account column, you have your property column, and then you have your view column. Now, the view column is where you're going to go to set up goals. Okay, so every view in every property has up to 20 goals. Okay, so by default in analytics, you're going to have at least one view for your property. So if I have a property, I'm going to have at least one view. But if I happen to set up multiple views like you see here, then I know for every view I set up, I have 20 goals to work with. So where are those goals? So under the view, I'm going to click on goals. And now I can see I have 20 at my disposal. Now you can see here by clicking on the recording column, I can see I have in this particular property, this particular view, I have 5 goals that are active. So you can use up to 20, but you don't have to have 20 active. Okay, you can have 1 active, 2 active. My recommendation is at least have 1 goal. Again, when you set up a goal, you're going to measure everything in analytics against that goal. Okay, so in this case, we have 5 particular goals we're measuring. So we have 5 active out of 20 total. So if I don't no longer want to use a goal, I can simply just turn it off. If I want to continue using it, just turn it on. Okay, it's that simple. You can turn on and off goals. So here I already have 5 set up. So if you want to set up a new goal, the one thing you need to know in Google Analytics is in order to set up a new goal, okay, you need to have edit access, at least the view level, I would say at the property level. So you want to make sure whoever's in charge of Google Analytics for your organization, or if you're in charge, okay, you simply just want to go to user management, and user management, you want to make sure the email address you're using to log into Google Analytics has at least edit permissions. So you're going to need edit permissions to add new goals. So I have edit permissions. I'm going to go to goals and I want to set up a new goal. But before we jump in and set up a new goal, what is it that we want to achieve? That's really the question we want to ask ourselves. What is the goal of the website? Well, if it's somebody downloading something, okay, are you measuring that download via an event? Okay, are they filling out a form submission before they download? So if they submit that form submission, is that the goal? Or do you have an e-commerce site? Is somebody purchasing something? So these are things you want to ask yourself before you actually set up the goal. What is it that I'm trying to measure? Now, when you actually do go to set up a goal, you're going to click on the red CTA button that says new goal. So analytics actually has some templates set up for you. Okay, you can see them here. Okay, if somebody's registering online or creating an account or reading review, downloading something, sharing something, you could choose all of these options here. What I normally do is choose custom. 99% of the time, I'm just going to choose custom. It doesn't really matter if you use the template or not. It's just a template is basically some free pre-filled configurations, but my recommendation is always just go with custom. You want total control over how to set up your goal. So we already have in mind what type of goal we want to set up. So for example, if somebody goes to fill out a form submission and they go to a thank you page after that, well, what's the URL of that thank you page? We want to be able to track how many people go to that page, because we know if somebody does type in or fill in a form submission and goes to that page, we know that they filled out the form. And so for example, if I go to continue, I'm going to name my goal first. So I'm going to say thank you page as an example. Notice analytics is assigning an ID. So notice this is goal ID 15. That means that that's the next available goal. There are 20 goals available in analytics. And so what analytics does is they group goals together. So 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20 into goal sets. So for example, goal 16 through 20 is part of goal set 4. And why does Google Analytics combine these goals into different goal sets? Well, because it's easier to measure and look at data by goal sets. So for example, if I jump into any report here, if I go to all traffic channels, and I want to measure how many goals by channel, I can look at it by goal set. So if I have goal set 1 selected, then I know any goal I have active in there between goal ID 1 through goal ID 5, I'm going to be able to see those goals in goal set 1. And now I'm going to be able to measure every goal I have active in goal set 1 against the channel. So if I choose goal set 2, whatever goals are active there, goal set 3, etc. Notice I don't have any goals 16 through 20 active that are in goal set 4. Therefore, I don't have that option available to me. So back to admin, the bottom left, navigation, again, goals. Okay, we want to measure somebody going to the thank you page. We have edit access. We're going to choose custom as our goal setup. We're going to type in a goal name. I'm just going to say thank you. Okay, this is goal 15. Now, this is the important part. Google Analytics has 4 different goal types: destination, duration, pages per session, or screens per session. So screens per session is related to mobile because Google Analytics measures mobile app activity. And then you have an event. So we're going to cover all 4 of these, but for the sake of this simple example, I'm going to choose destination. Why? Because if somebody goes to that thank you page, we're going to go ahead and put in the thank you page as the goal URL. So for example, destination is my choice. I'm going to click continue. Now, this is where I'm going to put the URL. So if my URL is just simply thankyou.html, I can just go ahead and put thankyou.html. Or if it's just thank you, then I can just do thank you. Depends on the website, depends on the URI structure. So whatever that URL is, that's what you're going to put in. And when you're done, you can verify it. So what Google Analytics does is actually will verify over the last 7 days if anybody's actually gone to that particular page. So if we click verify, we can see 0% conversion rate. So that tells us that if this is the correct URL, then we've had 0% people go to that page. This is just an example. However, if you didn't see a conversion, then you might want to make sure you check the URL here that you put in. And if you do see a conversion rate, then you know it's working. So Google Analytics actually has options. So we're saying thank you is equal to. So the destination URL is equal to thank you or thankyou.html or thankyou.asp or whatever that thank you page is. Okay, you do have options. So if you have a long URL, you could say begins with, and you could say begins with, say, thank you. So this is the logic. We're going to say, hey, if anybody goes to a URL that begins with thank you, then count it as a goal. Or you could say equals to. So if anybody goes to a URL that equals to thank you, then count it as a goal. You have one more option here, regular expressions. So Google Analytics understands the language of regular expressions. So regular expressions are just special characters used to communicate with Google Analytics in order to hone in on exactly what you're trying to track. So we can always say, starts with or ends with. So we can, use characters like the $, ends with, or begins with. So we can always do that. So you can use regular expressions as well if you're familiar with regular expressions. If you're not, then you don't have to use them, but there are special characters that you can insert in that are used as regular expression. So if you're not familiar with regular expression, don't choose that option. You could choose the other option of equals to or begins with. Now note that on all three of these options, I didn't put the domain. So if my domain is ama-foundation.org/ and then thank you, I don't need to put the domain because Analytics already knows what domain we're tracking. So you don't have to put in the domain here when you're entering in this case, the goal URL. So you can omit the domain. So when you put in that URL, you know that you have three options to work with, and then you always want to verify that goal URL. You always want to verify it because if you see 0% conversion, and in this case over the last 7 days, then that should tell you something. Either your goal is not set up correctly or you just don't have any conversion. Either way, you want to double check that. Now, when it comes to the destination URL goal, you do have an option here for funnel. So if I turn on funnel, then that means I have the ability to track how people went through my funnel. So if I have a cart and I want to be able to track how many people go in and out of the cart, then I have the option of adding specific pages as part of the cart. So we could say, step 1, which is basically cart. We could say step 2 is billing information. That could be /billing. We could say step 3 is shipping information /shipping. And then step 4 could be, confirm. And that could be /confirmation. So whatever your URL structure is for your cart, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a cart. Basically, all I'm doing is putting in a series of steps with URLs as each step. And why do I want to do that? Because I can then track how many people go through my funnel that I've created. Okay, so here I could see this is my funnel that I've created for this particular goal. Okay, and the funnel is only available for the destination URL. So the funnel is available if you want to see traffic through the goal. Okay, and how people go through the funnel and where they drop off. Now you have an option here to make the first step required. So if you make that first step required, then that means you're measuring the funnel through the first step only. Now, if I turn that off, then I'm measuring the funnel through each step, meaning that I can measure people as they drop in and out of the funnel. Where if it's required, the first step, then I'm only measuring traffic as it enters in the top of the funnel. So you have that option available to you, the funnel. And then for all goals, you do have a value. So if somebody did actually convert, okay, Google Analytics is going to count it as a conversion. And you can assign a value. So if you're not an e-commerce website, then you may want to think about assigning value. If you are an e-commerce website, then Analytics has the ability to track e-commerce revenue for your website. So you don't need to add a value. But in this case, let's just say you're a nonprofit organization and you're collecting donations. And on average, over the past year, every donation that somebody contributed was equal to $5. Well, you can just go ahead and put $5 in there as the value for that goal. So that means that if somebody did go to, in this example, /thank you and convert, Analytics is going to count it as a goal and then assign $5 value alongside that goal. So if you're non-e-commerce, if you're, say, a nonprofit like this organization, or you're B2B and you want to track some value, then you have that option there. So with the destination URL goal, you have the option of adding a funnel. With all goal types, you have the option of adding a value. All goal types, and we're going to go through the rest of them, you have the option of verifying that goal. So that's the structure of setting up a goal. Destination URL is just one goal type. We're going to talk about the other 3 goal types because in Google Analytics, there are 4 goal types. Again, destination is one of them. With destination, as you do have the option with all goal types, is you have to be able to choose your logic here. So we're going to cover that with the other three, but just know when you set up a destination URL goal, you have the option of adding a funnel. Now, when you actually do set up a funnel, what's going to happen is analytics is going to measure traffic as it goes through the funnel. So where do you look for that funnel information? Well, you want to get out of admin. You want to go to the left side navigation. You want to click on conversions, then goals, then funnel visualization. So based on the funnel you set up, you're going to be able to see traffic as it goes through the funnel. So notice on this particular funnel, we don't have the first step required. Why? Because I could see traffic as it goes in and out of each step of the funnel. So let's go through this funnel and see how people react. So here I can see the first step is the store front page. So over this particular period of time, I had 84 sessions enter the storefront page. So out of those 84, I can see 21 left the storefront page. 63 went on to the next step in the funnel, which is the cart page. I can then see 24 people went on to the cart page directly and 5 exited the site altogether. Okay, so that gave me 87 total. And from 87, I saw that 82 went on to the next page with the next step. What analytics does is they give you a percentage. So in the first step, we had 63 move on to the cart page. Out of 84, that's 75%. So from the cart page to the create your account page, we had 94% move on. So we didn't have anybody enter in the create your account page. We didn't have anybody leave the create your account page. So we have 82%, 82, create your account, and then we have 82 move on to the payment page. So that's 100%. Okay, we have 1 exit. So we have 81 that proceeded to be on the payment page, which was purchase. So 81 of 82 is 98%. And we started with 84. So that gave us, plus the 24 that we accumulated along the way, so that gave us a 75% funnel conversion rate. So 75% of the people who entered in the funnel went on to purchase. Okay, so don't be confused with the overall e-commerce conversion rate. So 75% is the funnel conversion rate. The overall conversion rate for this particular goal is 18.45% over this particular period of time. Why? Because that takes into account all sessions that have gone to the website. So 18% of all traffic went on to convert, but those that did go into the funnel, 75% converted. So that's a look at the funnel. So if you set up a funnel, that's what it's going to look like. You have the option to measure everything from step 1 and beyond, or measure as traffic goes in and out of the funnel. So the purpose of this is we're going to be able to see where traffic drops off, how effective our funnel is, what pages we need to address in that funnel. Okay, so that's the whole point of the funnel, and the funnel is available with the destination URL goal. So if I go back to admin, if I go back to goals under the view, I can actually see what that funnel looks like. So here we chose regular expression. So this is what the URL is. Okay, you can see our funnel in each of the steps we have set up. Notice we're using regular expressions here. And then if we verify this goal, we could see over the past 7 days, 19% conversion rate. So that tells me something's working in this particular, with this particular goal, because we do have a conversion rate. Okay, so that's the destination URL goal. So let's now talk about the other 3 types of goals. So the next goal type we're going to talk about is pages per session. So if you're not sure what type of goal to set up for your website, at the very least, you should try and set up either duration related goal or pages per session related goal. So let's talk about the pages per session. So basically what this goal is going to allow us to measure is, for example, if we set the goal to 3 pages per session, then we're going to be able to measure if how many people went to the site and looked at 3 pages per session. So let's take a look at that goal. So if I open up the goal, here I can see 3 pages per session is what we're naming it. So basically what we're asking analytics to do is anything greater than 2 pages, which would be 3 and beyond, count as a goal. So if anybody comes to the site, looks at more than 2 pages, 3 pages or more, then it's going to count as a goal. And so here we can verify it. So if we verify it over the last 7 days, we could see a 4.12% conversion rate. And that tells me that 4% of my traffic over the last 7 days looked at least 3 pages or more. So you're probably asking yourself, well, what number should I put in for the actual variable? So in this case, we see 2. Well, what you want to do is you want to look at, on average, let's just say year to date, you want to make sure you have statistical significance. So you want to look at a period of time. So if you go to analytics, go to audience, okay, and then if you go to overview, and if I change my date range to year to date, I could see on average right now, I have 1.21 pages per session. So that's on average. So we don't want to make our goal 1 page. We don't want to make our goal 2 pages. We want to make it 3. So we want to be able to basically measure at a higher rate. Okay, why do we want to measure at a higher rate? Because if 1.21 is the average, then 2 pages per session really isn't moving the needle. So what we really want to do is get people to stay on the site longer, look at pages more during their session. So look at more pages. And so we want to be able to see what segment of the audience is looking at more pages, what channel's driving traffic that's looking at more pages, what pages are contributing to more pages per session. So the whole idea is you want to hone in on what your goal is and see what's working and then see what's not working so you can make adjustments. The whole idea behind Google Analytics is to improve website performance. And so if our average is 1.2, then if we change it to just 2, it may not be good enough. So in this case, we want to up the bar a little bit. So we're going to choose 3. Now you can choose 4 or 5. That's perfectly fine. Just know if your average is 1.2, I wouldn't choose 1 page per session as my goal, and I probably wouldn't choose 2. So I'd set the bar a little bit higher. Now, the third goal type available in Google Analytics is also engagement related, and that's duration. So just like pages per session, we can measure how long somebody stays on the website, and we could set up a goal for that. So in this case, I have a goal set for 1 minute 30 seconds. So my goal type is duration. So if I click continue, then basically I'm asking analytics, in this case, anybody who stays more than 1 minute and 30 seconds on the website, count it as a goal. And so before you actually put in the number of hours, minutes, and seconds, you want to look at that average. So if you go back to audience overview, here I can see 1 minute and 7. So do we want 1 minute and 30? Maybe we could do that. Maybe we can go with 2 minutes. So again, the whole point is you want to set the bar a little bit higher than what the average is. And so here I can see over the last 7 days, if I verify this particular goal, I can see 8% of my traffic over the last 7 days stayed on the site at least 1 minute and 31 seconds. Okay, they stayed greater than 1 minute and 30. And so the whole point is you can hone in because this is a goal. I can go in, this is goal, okay, this is a goal here. And so I could see that this is goal 13. So now I can go to acquisition as an example. I can go to channels as an example. Since this is a goal, this is goal 13. So that would be in goal set 3. So I can actually see what channel is basically driving that goal. Okay. In other words, what channel is driving traffic that is staying on the site at least 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so that's the whole idea behind goals. So likewise for pages per session, we can go into channels. And here I can see we've have over this period of time, year to date, pages per session, we have 3% conversion rate. And here I could see, for example, organic search has a 13% conversion rate. Here I could see social media has a 10%. So I could see that people coming from organic search are staying on the site longer, or they're looking at more pages than any other channel. So just like duration or destination or any goal you set up, you can measure that goal against any dimension. Just because it's engagement doesn't mean you can't. You absolutely can. And so the whole point of engagement related goals is to figure out what's driving traffic to the site, but what traffic is engaging. So you want to be able to pinpoint that so you can improve website performance. Now, the fourth goal type available in Google Analytics is an event. So if you click on New Goal, you choose Custom, click Continue, you have the option to choose an event. So an event is something that you can measure on your website that analytics can't measure by default. So if you want to measure PDF downloads or clicks on buttons or clicks on play buttons on a video, or click on a submit button, or click on an external link. I mean, you can measure pretty much anything with an event. Then you want to be able to turn that event into a goal. So let's quickly summarize what an event is. So again, we want to be able to measure a particular event that happens on the website. So in order to do so, we need to identify that event. So if I go to, for example, this particular website here, and I want to measure how many times somebody clicks on the Donate Now button. Well, if I can measure that as an event. So when you set up an event in analytics, you have to actually assign a category and an action for that event. So that's the first thing you need to do when you identify an event-related goal. First, you need to set up the event. And in order to set up the event, you need to assign a category and action. Okay, so once you identify what you want to track as an event on your website, you're actually going to go in a tag manager or have your webmaster go in a tag manager and set up a tag. And in that tag, they're going to assign that particular category and action. And so here you can see we have this set up. Our category is named Donate Now, and our action is Click. And that's what we want to do. We want to measure how many people click on that Donate Now button. So anytime somebody does that, then the category Donate Now is going to appear in analytics with the action Click. So when you actually do set up an event, you can go into analytics and you can test that event. So if I go to the website and I click Donate Now, okay, the reason why I have this as an event is because I'm taking to a third-party website to handle the donations. So here I can go into analytics and now I can see a category is being fired for header donate with the action Click. So that's my category and that's my action. So that category and action is what is firing after somebody clicks on the Donate Now button. So if I want to turn this event into a goal, I can easily do that. Now that I've set up the event, now that I've identified the category and action, I want to go back to admin and set up the event with these parameters in place. So it just turns out we already have the goal set up. So let's go through how this goal was set up. So first, we chose custom, we chose event, we gave it a name. So as a best practice, when you actually set up a goal as an event, or turn an event into a goal, I would add the prefix event : to it. And then that way, when you're identifying goals and you're reporting, you know it's an event. So I'm going to click continue. And now that I actually have set up the event already in Google Tag Manager, I've given it a category, I've given it an action. Okay, see here you can see we have a regular expression set up. So anything with the header donate or donate is going to fire this goal. So over the last 7 days, I have a 0.81% conversion rate. Okay, I could have easily put in equals to and put in whatever the action or the category, which is Donate Now, or I could have put action equals Click. I could have done that as well. So let me show you another example here. So if I do this, custom, continue, event, donate now. Here's my goal ID. It's going to be an event. So all I need to do is put in the category and action. So donate now and then click. So that's all I have to do. And that's my goal. So I can verify it, okay, to see if anybody's fired it. And basically that's what I need to do to turn that event into a goal. Okay, so you need to set up for an event. First, you need to identify the event, set it up in Google Tag Manager, which is another platform. And once you've done that, then you have your category in action. Once you have your category in action, you're again going to go into analytics and then simply put in that category in action into the appropriate fields to set up your event related goal. Now, all events don't have to be turned into a goal. If you actually do set up an event and you're just not worthy of a goal, meaning it's not a KPI or doesn't align with your business goals, well, don't fret. You can always just go to behavior. Okay, you can always go to events. You can always go to overview and measure your events that way. So here you can see all of our events that are fired. Now we do have this one turned into a goal. So if it's important for our business, then we want to make sure we convert that particular event into a goal. Okay, if it's not important, for example, somebody's just clicking on a social button, then you don't necessarily have to turn that event into a goal if you don't want to. Know that it's sitting here under events, under behavior. So the point I'm trying to make here, if it's important to your business and you're already tracking it as an event via Google Tag Manager, then feel free to turn it into a goal. All you need is that category. All you need is that action. And so one final note on that event related goal, just like any other goal, you can add a value. Okay, so if I have an event set up, I can choose to add a value here. Or in Google Tag Manager, if I've assigned a value to that event, so if I go back to the actual event in Google Tag Manager, you can see I have a value set up for $1. Then I could just go into analytics and say, you know what? I already have the value added. So go ahead and use the value added in Google Tag Manager. Okay, so I'm going to choose yes. Now if I choose no, I have the option to add the value here, just like I would with any other goal. So just keep that in mind. You can add a value to any goal type. With an event related goal, you can add the value right into the tag in Google Tag Manager, just as I've done here. So remember, when you actually set up your goals, whether it's a destination, pages per session, duration, or an event, you can just go ahead and choose that goal set that it's in and measure any dimension against that particular goal. So here I can see e-newsletter signups by channel. I can go into another goal set. Here I can see contact form submissions. Okay, I can see what particular channel is driving contact form submissions. Okay, so just know that you can align a goal against any dimension. So if you have e-commerce, you don't have to set up for goal for that. That's separate. But if you want to take a look at your goals in analytics on its own, you can just go to Conversions, Goals, Overview. Here, I can actually get a good sense of how my goals are performing over a period of time. So again, if I choose, for example, year to date, now I can see based on the goals I've set up, how many total goal completions, value, which takes into account the value we've added into these goals, okay, the total conversion rate. And here I can see it broken down by the goal I actually have set up. And I can see it by page, or I could see it by source and medium. So I could see Google Organic is driving the most goal completions, then Google CPC, Direct, and then I could see some others in here as well, contributing to goals. Now, I do want to point your attention to another report in Google Analytics that does take into account goals, and that's multi-channel funneling. So again, under conversion goals, multi-channel funnels, if I go to assisted conversions, I can actually see what channel in this example is assisting with the conversions I've set up. And so what do we mean by assisted conversions? Well, that means that if a channel let's just say organic search drove traffic to the website. And that traffic didn't convert when it arrived at the website and left. But it came back a week later via another channel. Let's just say email. And when they came back via email, they did convert during that session. Well, what analytics does is they give an assist to organic search because they help drive the traffic to the website. So it's similar to the game of basketball. If I have the ball and I pass it to my colleague and my colleague's the one who scores because they had the ball last, well, they get the credit for the point, i.e. the conversion, but I get an assist. And so analytics works the same way. They're always going to give credit to the last click or direct conversion, but they will give credits to the channel in this case that assisted with the conversion. So that's under assisted conversion, and that's based on the goals you have set up. You can highlight any particular goal here. If I want to hone in on, say, the donate clicks only, then I'm going to be able to see what contributed to that particular goal. So there's another report in here, top conversion paths, that I think is important. So after you set up your goals, you can actually see what channels in this particular example help to drive conversions. Again, this is year to date. So I can see all the different combinations of channels that work together to contribute to a conversion. So again, I can choose a specific goal or I can choose all my goals. So those two reports are under multi-channel funneling. There's also another report that I think is good, and that's time lag, meaning how long did it actually take somebody to convert. So here you can see most of our conversions, 265 year to date, happened on the day somebody arrived on the website. But I could see I did get some conversions a day later, 2 days later, etc. So you have time lag, top conversion paths, assisted conversions. They're all under multi-channel funneling, and they're all available after you set up at least one goal. And so if you're not sure what goal to set up, okay, don't fret. You can always at least set up an engagement-related goal. So that's available to you, duration, pages per session. You also have destination and event tracking. And they're all available to you. You have 20 available per view. Now, if you're not quite sure exactly what type of goal to set up, there is an option available in analytics, and that's the gallery. So you can always import a goal from the gallery. So in other words, we could take a look at what other people have set up in terms of goals. So you just have to click on the button import from gallery, and it'll take you to the gallery, and you'll be able to see what other goals others have set up. Now, if you want more information about how Google Analytics works, you can always take a look at a webinar we did earlier this year, Google Analytics Tutorial for Beginners. We go into more detail about analytics and the overview of analytics, and we definitely talk about goals. So take a look at this webinar and get some more insight about not only goals, but how analytics works in general. So I want to thank you for paying attention today, getting a better understanding about Google Analytics goals and how they work. I always think it's important to learn about goals in general, because if you're using Google Analytics, you definitely need goals. So thank you for paying attention. If you have any comments, feel free to put them underneath this video. If you need more information, simply go to Simplilearn.com. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.